Welcome! This is Ask a Puppy Trainer Show, episode 61. Bethany missed 60. It was a big monumental mark for us.
I know. I've been gone. I'm sorry you had to deal with Sparky all alone.
She had vacation time.
And then I got
She got
sick.
sick
Like
from vacation time.
Yes.
I think she just wanted a longer vacation. I'm just saying. I'm just saying. Okay, guys. So if you have any questions,
and by the way, it was with family. So I'm tired of everybody saying vacation. I'm not really sure it qualifies as vacation. No offense.
My family doesn't.
No offense, family. No offense.
Okay, and I think we have enough questions where we might actually take up the whole half an hour. But if you guys have things you want to throw in the chat, please throw them in chat. We'd love to get to them if we have an opportunity to.
We have a very, very important question at the end that I'm very excited about addressing because it's a little off the cuff, a little off color, but I think it has a lot of questions that people have.
And in case people aren't able to wait, if Eric Mendoza is on, wait till the very end. That's when we answer your question, Eric.
Yep.
Okay, start with the shorty.
Who is this? Who do I have?
Theo. Is that Theo?
That's Kai.
That's Kai. Oh, Theo and Kai, they look very similar.
You were so cute. Look at your curls. Oh yeah, look at your curls.
But every girl wished they had. Yeah.
You have curls, don't you? Once it gets long enough?
It's long, yeah. When it was down to my butt, it was very curly.
He's not joking. He had really long hair.
I did. When I first started working here, I would have to tie it up.
He was a hippie and then he had a man bun at work. It was great.
And I had a beard down to here. It was pretty great. Yeah. I think I belong more with the wolves than the dogs.
It's okay though. It was in the past. It's okay. All right, you want to
Business
start?
professional. Oh, now you want me to start?
Yes, I do. We'll move on from your hair.
All right. So, actually, I'm not sure where this thing starts. Okay. This is from actually one of our current clients that comes to school, but they're out for kennel cough right now. How often should I be taking out for potty 7-month-old Husky? I would say honestly, probably every 3.5 hours or so.
7 months?
7-month-old Husky, 3.5, 4 hours. They should be doing crate time. We have them on.
I think it depends on if they're crate trained. Oh, you said this is the one that comes here, right?
Comes here, so I know their schedule pretty well.
Excuse me. Go ahead. Go ahead.
I would say I would say you're probably looking at about 3.5, 4 hours. He can do about 3.5, 4 hours in the crate comfortably before he starts whining pretty loud. And I don't necessarily think the whine means he has to go potty. I think that's just the maximum he's willing to do in the crate.
Probably.
Unless you want to train him past that, which means, we lost our light.
Especially if he's a male, he can probably actually hold it longer in crate.
I honestly think he'd probably hold it for about 8 hours.
All I was going to say...
Tell me, Bethany, what were you going to say?
...is that if this dog is out of crate and moving around, like if I wouldn't have a Husky. I wouldn't have a Husky free in the house, but if you've got your Husky tethered to you and you're moving around the home, even if they're doing place duration and there's activity going around you, it's going to be shorter than that 3 to 4 hour mark just because of stimulation. In the crate, I mean, to be honest, your dog, like he said, can probably hold it 5, 6, he said 8 hours, that would be at night. But not if there's any stimulation or light or movement or he knows people is home. Things like that shorten their ability to hold it.
Yep. Perfect. Next question from the same person. Any tips for enrichment activities while he has kennel cough? SOS. Lol. My favorite enrichment activity is calm place pattern.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, nice. She agreed with me. Great.
But wait. If they've been here, have they been here? What owner lesson are they on?
So they've been here long enough to do it here, but they haven't done it at home yet.
Okay. What owner lesson are they on? Do you happen to know?
I think we've done 3. We're on 3, I believe.
So if you've done 3, then you've done place, come, you've done place, you've done let's go work, turn, move when I move, stop when I stop and sit. Calm place patterning or calm crate patterning is that slowed down significantly. And so he's on leash, always on leash, next to you. Have food on you, but don't make a big to-do about it. Like it's to your side or it's behind you, and you walk up to plate. Here's the change. You walk up to place and you actually, if you need to, hold him back. He doesn't get in trouble. There's no correction. But you do a little bit of pressure on the leash and you just kind of hold him back. And he's like, but I can't, why can't I go to place? And then he'll, on his own, this is the key to calm place patterning, on his own, he'll hopefully eventually be like, what's the deal? And look up at you. And then if you want, you can ask for a sit or do pressure for a sit. Then you pause again. And then you say place, down. Take a breath in, take a breath out. Do that a couple more times. You can, instead of come, which is exciting.
Drive.
Yeah, it's like drive based. Do let's go. Or if you've learned heel yet, you may have not learned heel yet. Let's go, calmly do a circle, turn, pause.
She did three. You did 3, so you know heel.
Pause again. And you repeat that. The same boring thing over and over and over. Now, if you feel like your puppy's about to lose their mind with boredom, we don't actually do corrections usually even for a 7-month-old dog for that kind of stuff. It's more like pressure, like, hey, settle down, relax. Like you're chipping away at the anxiety he feels because of, being stuck at home and not being able to go on long walks and run and things like that. That would make him cough more. So anyway, do that. And if you do deliver food, trying to entertain this puppy. If you do deliver food, it's like, good, pause, like I haven't even moved my hands, good. Then reach in pouch, then calmly deliver food, then pause again, then go to the next step. And that's only if you're getting a lot of frustration, like this, maybe. You're just being a typical little puppy though.
This is supposed to be boring too. If you're having fun doing it, you're doing it wrong. Yeah, this should be the most boring part of your whole day.
Put one earbud of a podcast in and then the other one where you can hear outside things and do this drill for 10-15 minutes. You can mix it with some fun stuff, that's fine, but you want to start super slow, and when slow gets comfortable, speed it up, have some fun, and then end slow again.
He's eating your tassel.
What? So you can do that with place, you can do it with crate. What else? What other enrichment stuff? We do not like puzzles that spit out food because that
amps them up. They go chasing down. Yeah. You do like a snuffle mat? What about
that? Snuffle mat.
I don't want him running though. Otherwise I'd tell you fetch, I'd tell you tug and stuff like that. We don't want him moving a lot because he's supposed to be resting. So snuffle mat, Kong with peanut butter,
licking,
natural peanut butter.
Anything that causes licking is always good.
No Jif's peanut butter.
Yeah.
Anything like the Whole Foods one, the 365, that's a really good one too. Last question from her is 7-month-old Husky. Oh, yes, of course. He started marking everywhere. Any tips to stop that? So, Bethany, go. No,
Sparky, why don't you take this one?
I think I might. It sounds like he's still getting a little too much freedom. And I remember a Zoom class, you don't have a huge living room, so it tells you that if he has started marking, is it in your hallway, like outside of your apartment? Is it in your apartment itself? Or does it say where it is? No, everywhere. So I would say that you want to be more preventative. If I let him sniff everything on his walk, he's going to start peeing on the things that he sniffs.
Yes.
If I start seeing the nose go down to the ground, I'm already redirecting him away from that smell, and maybe even redirecting him into a heel, turnaround, redirecting him into a sit. I'm trying to bring the nose off the ground. The nose is a precursor to marking. If he's even just marking without even sniffing, that means we've let the sniffing go for so long, he already knows what he wants to pee on. So if you go by an area that he's already peed on before, that's the area where I'm already ready for it. I'm not even looking for a sign. He's gonna walk by and just and then keep going. There won't be a sniff anymore. Target those areas, work him through it. Yeah. We've taught you a few things in the owner lessons with the heel and also some like the tugs and stuff, so you can play around with those.
For the viewers, I would like to talk about marking versus potty accidents. So, because even females will mark. I had a little female, she would mark over other female accidents in people's homes, never male.
My dog will lift up her leg and pee as high on a tree as she can. It's quite impressive.
Okay, anyway. So, what I would say for everybody, if you aren't sure, how you look at it is if your dog just went outside and had a long pee or a couple of short pees, comes in the house and does a short pee, where it looks like they're squeezing it out, that can be a mark. If they lift their leg, that can be a mark. That doesn't mean it's definitely a mark, but that can be a mark if they're lifting their leg. If they sniff the edge of the chair and then they turn and squat, if it's a female, and do like a one leg lift, or a male will do the full lift, that's a mark. And then one more thing I would say is if it's a long pee, if your Husky, your dog, goes to the corner and squats or even leg lifts and does a long pee, like seems like they emptied their bladder, I'd say that was more of an accident. Maybe they're comfortable marking, but that was more of an accident if it looks like they're emptying their bladder. So anyway, we're
looking at a little silver dollar versus a puddle.
Yeah.
And that's for like a little dog. A little dog would be like a little dime versus a silver dollar.
Yes. Well, and my little dog Happy, who's this size, and she will mark over other females. It's like one drop because she'll have nothing left. So she'll save like one drop here, one drop
always
there.
a drop left.
And I'm like, you keep moving. You're lying. You do not need to go. Let's go.
All right, perfect. Hopefully that works for you guys.
This little one, I just want to point out real quick, was biting me, and just typical stuff. Like he's not in trouble. He. Just seeing what's going on down there. So he is not in trouble, but you might have seen me while, and you can always watch the replay, while Sparky was talking, because we've talked about this before, but instead of like petting and scratching and just kind of keeping along, I did like a firmer hold and just said, hey, knock it off. I think I had to do that 3 times. Oh, there's a little fussiness. But it's so much less than before when he was biting the snot out of me. And then I picked him up like this. He had a little more fussiness. I did one more kind of little, hey, I'm so ninja-like. You guys didn't even see it, but it happened. Now that he's calmed down nicely and he's like not struggling, not biting, not frustrated. Now I'm gonna hand him off to Ricky, and he's gonna go back in his crate.
The reason for this, she's not trying to reward the biting frustration by petting him, which is a very common thing. I bet you even...
Or by just handing him off.
That too.
Yeah.
I can imagine there's probably 30 people holding their puppy on their lap right now. I would advise you to stop petting them, see what they do. Yeah. And if they fuss and demand the pettiness, and stop petting them, see what they do. If they fuss, do the same thing she just mentioned, see what they do. And when they do finally settle, that's when I'll put them on the ground if they're an older dog, or that's when I'll put them back in their playpen or their crate if they're a younger dog.
We always say if you get emotional about your puppies, like if they're really frustrating you, and you do the 3-strike rule that Sparky loves to talk about, yes, just put them in their crate calmly. But when you can, calm the puppy down first, and you can get 3 seconds of an improvement before you put them on the ground, put them in crate, redirect them to a toy, things like that.
It would help with their fussiness too. If you put them back in the crate, they're probably going to bark if they're still frustrated.
That's true.
If you can soothe them, what she did for like even that 5-second window, I bet you Theo or Kai, or I think it was Kai. I think Kai went, you know who Kai is too?
No,
That's Fumi's dog.
Oh,
yeah, from our
that.
other one.
Oh, cool.
So it's
Anyway.
it gives them a moment to actually settle in the crate too. It's more likely for them to settle.
But if you ever feel emotional, frustrated, exacerbated, is that a word? Yes.
Could be a word now.
Then just put them in crate, take a breath, do better next time. It's perfectly fine as long as it's not happening all the time. Okay.
Do you want to go over this one?
Yeah, the long one. Yeah.
After.
Hannah says, we have a 13-week-old golden doodle, potty trained, dusty sit. You are roaming like crazy. My old border collie's being bad.
We drop food.
13-week-old golden doodle, potty trained, fine in the crate overnight, up to 7 hours, comes out of crate, goes right outside. He knows to go outside. We watch him, and then we break things up into training, play, or self-play. Ooh, I like that. Way to go. However, as long as it's not all self-play, it's really good. However, he literally goes to the door 5 to 6 times within the hour that he's out. So, okay, let me finish this. He always does his business when he goes outside. If we don't let him out straight away, he usually does have an accident. That's normal. How do we help him learn to hold it when he's out of his crate? Will it just happen out of time? Oh, okay. So when you say, so you bring him in the house, which is good. He gets his training, play, or self-play, but he goes to the door 5, 6 times. 13-week-old golden doodle, totally normal. I got 2 things for you, but first of all, Hannah, you have done an amazing job at your structure. And you're also, because you've done such an amazing job with this routine, you're very lucky that he's picked up on it so quick, but it's also because you've done such a great job that your golden doodle is going to the door to be like, all right, pay attention, I need to go out and alerting you to do a quick little pee. Everybody begs us to, how do we get our dogs to alert us? And we're like, don't ask for that because you're asking for trouble.
I have a conversation tonight just about that.
Yep.
And how their dog won't do it.
Yep.
But because if they had done the schedule like you did, their dog
They might have. Yeah, they might have. But anyway, not every dog does. And so listen to your golden doodle. What I would say is you want to make sure you don't fall into the trap of is 30 seconds. If it's really happening over and over again, 30 seconds to a minute, maybe 2 minutes if you think you're about to see a poo. And then they need to come back in the house, not 5 minutes every time they go outside.
They could be luring you out just to get the outside experience.
Yes, exactly. But you say, he always potties when he goes out, and so he should come right back inside. So just to address your question specifically, how do we help him learn to hold it while he's out of crate? It's ironic that it's actually no stimulation or more crate that helps them learn how to hold it. And so the night, that's great. But during the day, 13-week-old puppy, I'd say could do golden doodle. If it's a standard poodle, then you might be able to do 3 hours during the day. If it's a tiny one, you're talking 1.5, 2 hours in crate, out to pee, then do your play and train rotation. Pee again, or let him pee when he asks to pee, back in crate 2 hours. Do that for a week to 2 weeks, and then 2.5 hours, and then 3.
I think the hour out of the crate might still be a little bit too much, though.
Well, I don't.
Not if he's going 5 or 6 times out of the crate. It's either he's getting too much water when he's out of the crate. If you're giving free access to water, it could be he's getting too much in him, or I think maybe that hour is a little too much.
Maybe. I don't know. I think it sounds like you're doing great. If you're doing a little bit of training and play every time he's coming out and she's supervising him, I'm okay with the dog not being in crate if he's being supervised.
I'd be okay with that if he isn't going to the door 5 or 6 times.
Okay, so you think that's gonna do a bad habit?
I think that if you're out for an hour and you get 5 or 6 times of going to the door, I think you've already established a bad habit of your dog needing to pee multiple times. Cut down the free time to 30 minutes, try it out. You do a potty before, you do a potty at the end of it, and then you do a little bit of water, and then they go back in the crate, and then eventually in 2 weeks maybe you play around with that, and then you build back up to the hour. And I would keep them on leash and not give them access to go to the door, but if I feel them pulling a lot to it, then I will acknowledge it. Obviously you don't want a potty accident.
I don't disagree that with him as far as, this could turn into a bad habit. However, I'm not totally sold that you need to change the hour up. I would say that maybe, I could be wrong, and then Sparky's right, and I always hate that. But
I get 1 in 10.
If you're doing an hour out of crate and then 2 hours in crate, and if you're home, all day and able to do that, and then in a week it's 2.5 hours, in 3 weeks it's 3 hours, in a month it's 3.5, 4. If that's happening, then and the time in the hour is lessening, the going to the door constantly is lessening, I'd say you might be doing okay. But what if it doesn't lessen? Like he said, what if it doesn't decrease and he's just in the habit now? So maybe you could find a balance between what we're both saying and play around with that.
Anytime we say play around with it, that is literally what we do on a daily basis.
Yes, yeah.
We don't know the exact answer to your question. We can give you advice. You try it for a few weeks or even just a week. You come back and check in with us. That's truly what dog training is about. There is no perfect answer. There's trial and error and then finding a better troubleshoot.
Yep. We've only got a couple of minutes for these because I have my question that I need time to flesh out appropriately.
For an English Bulldog puppy,
for Lori,
thank you. For an English Bulldog puppy at any age, is it okay to use a slip lead if using it properly, or are they a special breed? They are a special breed. I had a trainer that I knew about 9 years ago that popped out an eyeball, and they had a
How old was the? I've had that happen to not me personally, but I've heard of that happening to a Shih Tzu. How old was
Bulldog was young, and he did have a cherry eye, so it's kind of a combination. It wasn't one of my clients; it was just another trainer that I heard about. But I knew the other trainer, so I do believe it happened. And yeah, go ahead.
No, I was just gonna say my thing is, can I work with a 4-month, 5-month-old bulldog on a slip leash? Yes. I mean, unless there's a cherry eye. Yes, absolutely. But I wouldn't, because I'm not going to show the owner how to do that.
It's not worth the risk.
Right. There are so many nuances, and they're learning new things, and it's too stressful. So personally, no. I believe it's. I mean, there's no rough estimate. I've always heard 5 to 6 months for all the muscles to build up like around the neck and stuff. But even then, in the weather we live in Southern California with the heat, we are so cautious of slip leads for any, not just big-eyed dogs, but short-nosed breed dogs. Yeah.
Oh, that's a better name. I like smushy face.
Smushy face dogs. Do you have anything else to add to that one?
No.
Okay, cool.
Perfect.
So, hi, 7-week-old Siberian Husky puppy, week-old. Is it okay to give dry kibble? The vet said to give kibble wet. It needs to be wet.
I would wet it as well.
Not just,
they're barely developed.
Not just wet, but like sitting and soaked and spongy. Okay. In other words,
which might also lead to potty accidents, so you got to limit the intake of other water because you're giving so much in that food.
Unless it's a really salty food, and then they drink a ton of water, and I've seen that happen with puppies. So you got to kind of look at that kibble too.
And if it's a salty food, stop giving salty food.
Bingo. In other words, is there a time where you need wet food instead of just dry kibble for puppies? Yeah, definitely. I mean, it's really common to actually do wet food, dry kibble mixed with water, sitting, becoming a mush ball.
I do eventually wean off of that though.
How old?
It said 8 weeks old. I think.
No. I mean, like for you. I'm trying to remember. It's
how
like
throw up weaning off.
Yeah. It also depends on the size of the dog.
Yeah.
For me,
honestly, I'd wean off by 10 weeks. Probably.
I was going to say large breed dogs. I'd say 10 to 12.
Yeah. Okay. What about small breed though?
No. Like I'm still, for 10-week-old small breed dogs, I'm still making it just a little spongy where I can actually still hand feed it like
I'm
a
talking
treat.
About the wet food, sorry.
Oh, wet food.
I would wean off of wet food by
okay.
10 weeks old for small or large breed dogs.
But not watering
not
kibble.
the watering the kibble. I do that until a dog can comfortably eat it. If I got a dog that's chewing, it looks like he's swishing a kibble around his mouth for 4.5 minutes. That means he can't chew it. He's trying to use his saliva to soften it.
Or
that's not fun.
Or swallow it whole. Just.
And yeah, we don't want that either. That's a danger.
Okay, cool. All right.
Okay, I'm gonna sit back.
Wait.
Wow.
Shan?
Shan, believable. Thanks again for the advice last week. We only on hydrolyzed food. We ended up using the wet food to bake our own treats. Seriously, thank you.
I love that. You can make your own treats. That's great.
You might want to repeat what she said because they may not be able to hear her.
You said too much.
Okay, so Shan Believable says from last week says thank you so much for Sparky's advice on, I wasn't here, on wet food suggestion to turn it into treats and to use the hydrolyzed food on the regular. Perfect. Okay, thank you,
That's
Shan.
what we'd do for Bear too. We'd put it on a spoon.
Okay, this is a very special question.
One of which I'm going to sit back and relax.
You're
So I'm super amped up. I'm excited for this question.
He's excited for me to answer it because I think so many people have the same questions. I've decided not to edit this question and read it in its entirety in full because I think that's the most fair thing to do. And so I'm going to read it and then I'm going to take it piece by piece and answer it for you guys. Okay, here we go. Okay. Eric says, they just welcomed a 12-week-old golden doodle into our home, and we've been loving your resources. However, they've also caused some controversy in our home that I thought you'd appreciate the feedback. Maybe even offer a helpful response, which is hopefully what this is going to be. The problem that we have with your coaching is that it's unrealistic for our home with 2 kids that want to love on our puppy every time they see her. You want us to have our puppy sleep for 18 to 21, I think we usually say 20 hours, but 18,
21.
Do you say 21?
Yep.
It's wrong, it's 18 to 20. So right there's the first problem.
I know. She likes 16 to 20.
16 to 20. You want us to have our puppy sleep for that amount of time and basically give up her puppyhood in exchange for having the perfect adult dog. Your perfect approach divides our home because for us it's just not realistic. It would really help if you acknowledged the families that aren't going to lock their puppy in their crate for 20 hours a day in a different room, train him or her for 3, and show love for 1. That's your thing.
I wouldn't even show love for 1. That's too long.
Stop it. Stop being ornery. He's being ornery. It almost feels like you're shaming people who do otherwise, and that makes it hard for all of us to embrace you. Thank you for listening. I'll keep on watching, learning, and will likely buy your online course to help our puppy. Okay, So there's a lot of good stuff in here. I think that some of the questions that he asked is a question that a lot of you guys have at home that we don't always deep dive into because we're used to having people that kind of already know what's up and it's not an issue for them. So I like the fact that we have someone different out there watching, you know, not just the people who are used to us and who already have done a lot of the things that we talk about.
Willing to ask the hard questions.
Yeah, he's definitely willing to ask. And I appreciate the feedback. However, it just doesn't change. It just doesn't change anything except for how I'm gonna hopefully help more thoroughly explain our process. Okay, so the first thing I want to address is actually the 18 to 21 hours, which I say 18 to 20. I don't know where you get 21. You're just being mean. So Sparky and I, we didn't come up with that. I mean, between the two of us, we've been training for like
Beth,
30.
We're pretty brilliant. We came up with it.
Shut up.
We did not.
Like between the two of us, we've got like 30 years of experience, but we didn't come up with that, and neither did just a trainer. Breeders, vets, those are the people that came up with it. It would be the same as if you have kids, right? So if you go to your pediatrician and something's happening and your pediatrician is like, well, how much sleep are they getting? Well, they really need to be getting this amount of sleep. What are some things we can do to make sure they're getting the sleep that they need? Because I don't know how much it is for an infant, but it's this amount of sleep. And the stages of your dog are very similar. So I would say the 6 weeks to 12 weeks is definitely the 18 to 20 hours is really important. And then definitely when they hit the 16-week mark, you'll see them needing less and less sleep as they get older. And then by the time they're an adult, they're probably, I think the latest statistics are like an average of 10 to 12 hours actually sleeping, but they're resting for much more than that during the day. So I hope that gives you an idea. We're not just here spouting off these numbers. These are actually really common. I mean, I could say 10 dogs or 10 trainers off the top of my head, you know, it's that are positive reinforcement, balance, this, that, and it's the same amount. So, okay. The reason why, I wanted to go into the reason why too, is also Dusty. My dog is just, boy, he's just roaming like crazy today, driving me nuts. Okay, so there was recently, I just saw this actually yesterday, and it made me think of you and a lot of my other clients. Part of the reason we say put the dog in another room and crate is to teach them how to be alone. They're pack animals and they need to learn that right away in order to be able to kind of function the way that we function with dogs. Your home might be different. Maybe you have a homestead, maybe you have a farm. I just visited my family's farm and it's totally different for the dogs there, you know, that I grew up with. But on average, we need them to be away from us because we're working at home more, there's more stuff going on at home, and they need at least 18 hours of no stimulation. Now, if you can provide that with what Sparky calls supervised separation, where kind of like a playpen for a baby, the dog is in a pen away from you, not getting your attention. If your household is calm enough, you can mix crate with supervised separation. Basically, they need 18 hours of no stimulation a day. And I saw this great article that a lot of pediatricians and I don't know, baby scientists now are really slamming some popular toddler TV show. And it was so cool to see how they break it down because I relate everything to dogs and dog training. What was happening is in this TV show, they were jumping, their edits were 2 seconds, 5 seconds, like a couple of 1 second editing from frame to frame to frame. And for toddlers, apparently that's horrible. And it's having sensory issues because of the overstimulation. And so it's a really big deal now. There's actually a petition towards the company that, you know, put out the toddler TV show because of how bad it is for toddlers. Well, that's what we talk about for dogs all the time. It's about them not having, for 18 hours a day, not having a lot of stimulation and trying to make it no stimulation so they can truly rest or sleep. It's kind of that same thing because the main number one cause of anxiety is that we're seeing in the West, and by the West I mean us and the UK, is dogs are out too much. Puppies are out with their families too much, especially active families with kids, and so they're constantly overstimulated, and it's not natural for them, so they're not developing properly, and they're developing all this anxiety. And so anyway, that's a really hopefully in-depth way that you guys can kind of digest that and see how it fits into your situation at home. The other thing that I wanted to touch on, and I'm going to be brief about this one because it's definitely to each his own, is the kid thing. You say I'm taking away. It's very unrealistic, and I'm taking away puppyhood because your kids want to pet the puppy every time that they see them. I hope that that's not true. I hope that that was a bit of an overstatement. Surely they don't pet the puppy every time they walk into a room or every time you see them, because that would be like giving your kid everything they want the moment they want it. You're really setting
instant
gratification. You're really setting your dog up to fail, your puppy up to fail. And then I'm not even going to say Sparky's personal view. It is my personal view that kids should be taught to respect animals first. They should be taught why dogs are here, that they're predators and what that means. I don't have to show a 5-year-old a video or anything, but it is important that they know what cats do, what dogs do, what horses do, what rabbits do. They need to learn about nature and what it means, what this spider's role is and what this spider's role is, and the squirrel. And that's very important to me as a dog trainer, as a person, as an individual, as someone who was raised on a farm. It's so important to me for kids to respect animals first, to learn not to bother a sleeping dog, to just learn these things. Even if your dog is aces. I have a wonderful German Shepherd at home, and kids actually learn that they can kind of mess with her and don't mess with the other dogs. But that's not how I introduce the situation. It's respect all animals first, and then get to know them, and then you can be a little bit more loving with this dog. This dog you can hug, but most dogs you don't hug. Because if you don't do that, in my opinion, and by you I don't mean Eric, I mean the general you, your dog might be fine. I mean, even at Puppy Academy, we get puppies growling on couches because they've been bothered too much.
They've been picked up, they've been bugged, they've been moved. Yeah.
And it doesn't happen at 12 weeks old. It happens at 5 months old, 6 and 7 months old. But anyway, I won't get into that. For me, it's not even about your puppy. It's about how your kids and you go out into the world and handle the neighbor's dog at the neighbor barbecue. Like, I just saw a thing the other day on Facebook about like the 5th bite I've seen in the last week of a kid going to another person's house and getting bit by their dog.
Playing with their dog.
Playing with their dog. And so for me, and honestly, I could write a book on all of it, but I think I'll stop there because hopefully that just gives a little bit of an idea. It's really important to me that dogs are not stuffed animals. Puppies aren't even companions. It's actually the family's job and the kid's job to raise the puppy to be the family companion. Okay, moving on. I don't want to get into the weeds. First of all, this is the only thing I was a little confused on. And so I just want to say, first of all, if we have ever said this word, we apologize and we will do better about it in the future, which is the term perfect. Because animals aren't perfect, humans aren't perfect. Trying to create the perfect adult dog, it's not going to happen. What our goal is to do, though, is to create a calm family dog in a culture where dogs are confused about their role and they're in the house all the time and they're really struggling and families are really struggling. And so that's kind of just a little snippet of where we're coming from to give context to that.
A perfect dog doesn't exist. We're just trying to build the most respectful and well-balanced dog that we can.
Yes.
And these are what our tips come from.
And to prevent all the issues we know happen during adolescence.
We've been a long time and we see a lot. So our goal with this is to help you guys create that well-balanced dog.
And there is no perfect approach. You know, when I listen to my podcasts on politics and on, you know, other stuff, I'm like, oh, that guy rubs me the wrong way, or that person, I don't really like what they're saying, but this really made sense to me. You know, in life, you just take things with a grain of salt. Take what you like, take what you don't like. I hope you learn some things from us, but then you go find a funnier, softer, nicer trainer, and you love watching them because it's more fun, and that's where you get all the fun stuff. And then you have a little bit of a behavioral issue, and you can come back to Sparky and I,
check in with us,
and we can set you straight. You know, so I'm so happy with that because I just, you know, we're not here to shame people, but, you know, I get shamed when I go to the doctor and they tell me I've gained 15 pounds in a year. You know, it's like, you know, I get shamed.
I blame it on COVID still.
Exactly. I'm still blaming COVID too. I'm trying to get over that because it's not working well for me.
They just keep asking why I keep gaining 5 every year.
I know, 2-3 years later. Okay, so we don't mean to shame people, but you do got to understand we do joke around on the show. We do make light of things. We do get serious about things. We do hold people accountable, and we try to do it in a nice way, but I'm sure some people don't like it. And if we're not for you, that is totally okay with us. If it's hard, if someone out there is watching and it's the first time, sorry, and if you're not embracing us like they mention, you know, then you know, take a break. There are so many things out there. There's so many different types of personalities out there, and we're okay with that. We're okay with that.
We want to make sure you get the best help for you. Not maybe our help isn't the best for you, but maybe find someone that can give that for you.
Yes. And I just want to tell everybody that for anybody here, anybody on here, and that listens to us, we're very grateful for you. Our advice isn't for everybody or every dog. We try to generalize things in the best way we can. And we hope that we can help, you know, whoever needs it out there. So we'll see you next week, same time, same place, and thank you for joining us today.
See you guys.